Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Namaste Village. It's so great to have you. As you probably know, we are in Yogananda week, and it's also Scott Gray's birthday day. And so we're very excited about that. And today I'm going to be turning the session over to our brother Scott, and he is going to be sharing from his heart as he always did. But before we do that, we have a new tradition that we just started yesterday. And that tradition is going to be to share together our morning, very powerful awakening affirmation. And then there's a little call and response afterwards. So here's what we're going to do. Let me share the screen. And I want you to really give your full commitment to this. Okay, so please join me in saying these words and really mean them. My soul has but one goal: to awaken to the truth that is forever true. My heart has but one desire: to remember the passion of infinite bliss. My mind has but one focus: to embrace the reality that is forever real. I choose to awaken now to the infinite love that is my source. I give everything to this love just as it has given everything to me. I am awake now. And now from the words of Paramahansa Yogananda, how is everyone today?
Awake.
How feels everyone today?
Awake and ready.
Awake and ready, indeed. And that is a very good description of our brother Scott on this, the holy day of his incarnation. So I am so excited to hear what our brother has to share. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you, Scott. Take it away, brother.
Thank you, James. Thank you for your trust. Can I have a cushion? Thank you, darling. If that one is attached, is it? Okay, it's unattached. Man, I wish I could do that in some of my relationships. That, right? So everyone, I asked for guidance as to what to share this morning, and the words came up: unconscious guilt. And I said, that doesn't sound like a lot of fun. It's my birthday, and Jeshua said, you'll make it fun. But I had a lot of doubt about it, and I just asked for a sign, and I turned on YouTube, and the video that popped up said, unconscious guilt, your the biggest way you resist ascension. That was the name of the title. And I thought, okay, well, let's do it. So usually we just have lots of fun celebrating the fact that we've already arrived, we're already home, everything's great, we're already in heaven, we're already in the ocean. But the Course in Miracles does say, your task is not to seek for love, but to seek for and find the blocks that you have placed to the awareness of love's presence. And guilt is the main block. There's even a little bit of a Zen koan in the Course that I love. It says, if guilt is hell, what is its opposite? It's like one of those Ramahashi, who are you questions, just let that reverberate while I sing you this song. You gotta rest your case. Lay it before God's smiling face. Let yourself be dazzled by the grace. No matter the illusion, there's only one solution. Rest your case. Doesn't matter where you've been, it doesn't matter what you've done. If you got a heart that's beating and you're ready for love now, a new day has begun. But if your bags are heavy from carrying around the past, you can let it go without a trace. Just give it all to God. You can live in peace if you're willing to rest your case. You gotta rest your case. Lay it before God's smiling face. Let yourself be dazzled by the grace. No matter the illusion, there's only one solution. Rest your case. Rest your case. Rest your case. So what's your case? What does that mean? You know, it's a courtroom term, the case. The case against yourself. When I was a youngster, there was this band, Gabriel Roth and the Mirrors. Apparently she started this whole, like, the kind of dancing that happens on Saturdays. She started this ecstatic dancing movement in Marin. And she was in New Jersey where I lived. And there was like a theater piece. And they were putting the ego on trial. And the ego was found guilty for imagining a sense of separation from God. And when the person playing the judge reached the verdict, he said, you know, yes, you are guilty, and your what is that thing called? When you know your sentence, your punishment is death by dancing. And then all of these drummers started drumming, and everyone was invited to get up on the stage and just dance their egos off. Oh my. So this is I'm not going to read the whole poem. I'm just going to read little bits and pieces and talk about it. This is the spiritual Dr. Seuss, How the Guilt Stole Christmas. There's a teacher inside you who teaches you lessons. His favorite word, should, is a sign of his presence. He shoulds on you till you're so deep in depression, you do things that make your priest gasp at confession. The teacher is guilt, and he's doing his best to whip you in shape so you'll be a success. When he thinks you screwed up, he will whip your behind, the way jockeys whip horses to quicken their time. So in a sense, guilt wants the best for you, but he thinks that punishment is the way to go. And punishment means puny. It makes you feel smaller. To punish you is to punify you, to forget that you're a divine being, fully innocent and fully capable of being the light of the world. That's why I think it's the Course in Miracles. Maybe Jeshua just said this to me. He said that guilt is the ego's chief weapon for keeping you in a state. So I don't understand the difference between guilt and fear and which came first. I don't really care. I remember when I started studying the Course in Miracles, I was like Tarzan. I just wanted to know what was good and what was bad. So there was part of me going, okay, now I get it. Guilt, bad. Forgiveness, good. Fear, bad. Love, good. Ego, bad. Holy Spirit, good. I call that the ego reading A Course in Miracles. He's the guilt that stole Christmas, your personal Grinch. And he'll take a whole mile if you give him an inch. He lives in your basement. That's where he resides. Alone in the darkness, he schemes and he hides. So let's grab a light and head down to the cellar to expose and illumine this cagey cave dweller. Because most of us do not become motivated. When guilt's on our case, we just want it sedated. So we smoke or we drink to drown out the noise, or become busy worker bees good girls and boys. Straight A's, nothing less in our quest for perfection, in the hopes our achievements can win God's affection. I'm remembering when this first came through, I wrote, in the hopes our achievements can give God an erection. And then I think Ken Wapnick came off and edited it because I like that line. But God always gives you a standing ovation, adoring you with the most pure adoration. It's guilt that imagines that God could be pissed, which makes you walk on eggshells, afraid of his fist, which possibly drives you to be atheist, or at least be a type A perfectionist. Remember in school when you got your first B and you felt like you failed somewhat miserably? It's guilt that thinks misery leads to prevention, and for your own good sends you down to detention. And in that detention, he hopes you will suffer enough that you'll be that much wiser and tougher. It thinks it is serving some valuable service by rushing to judgment and making you nervous. But guilt's not like conscience, regret, or remorse. Those teachers teach gently, while guilt uses force. What's wrong with you, madam? And of course, shame on you, sir. Guilt thinks he's your teacher, but he's just your abuser. Ooh, you feel that? You know, I'm going to teach you a lesson, my parents used to say. And that's why the Course in Miracles has this section on becoming a happy learner, because we've got guilt associated with learning and making mistakes and punishment. And so we're very often crappy learners before we're happy learners, because there's that ego voice constantly going, you're not enough, you're not doing this right, you're not spiritual enough, you're not making enough money, you know. And so we learn, and this voice away, it doesn't really get in the way, it just makes our journey less fun. We're going to get there whether we're, you know, believing in the mind chatter or not. But the purpose of this poem and this talk is to really lighten up the whole guilt conversation, so you can look at it, laugh at it, challenge it, dance it to death. Now, guilt can arise from so many sources. Let's name just a few as a matter of courses. There's guilt from religion, original sin, humanity's birth defect. Pass me some gin. There's sexual guilt when you've just done the naughty, or sometimes there's guilt when you've just had the thoughty. There's guilt when you did something bad and got caughty, or when you did not do something you oughty. There's parental guilt installed by your folks who hope to protect you and teach you the ropes. There's guilt when you've gained weight and gotten too curvy. There's no end to the reasons you could feel unworthy. Now, if you are Catholic, guilt can be addressed in a booth once a week. Hail a cab and confess. Or an Uber, right? And if you're not Catholic, you still can unload. So you pay a good shrink so your head won't explode. Because when you keep guilt in a dark secret place, your head swells until it blows up in your face. And that's why we nickname our therapists Shrink. They help us deflate all the hot air we think. And if you can't pay for a counselor to hear you, you ask a good friend just to listen and cheer you. Then they take a turn and sing like a canary, and you welcome their truth like you are their truth fairy. And then guilt takes a hike without a single Hail Mary. This is about Course in Miracles, says it really not a good idea to hold on to private thoughts, because that sense of privacy creates the illusion of separation, and it also gives guilt power over you. So it's really good to practice just saying, I'm scared, I'm angry, I'm feeling this, I'm hiding this, and just get the privacy out. there's no such thing as privacy. We're all one. Jesus can see us in our negligee, in our in our bathrobes, naked. It's better just to be naked than pretend that we're not. And if you can't pay for a counselor to hear you, oh, I did that part. Now, when you've got guilt, you are on your own case, and your head's like a courtroom, a humorless place. The district attorney presents your trespasses as if he was wearing a dark pair of glasses, glasses that block out your goodness and light. He's your prosecution, and he might win the fight. Not so fast, says your diligent defense attorney, as he outlines the good things you've done on your journey. Objection, objection, the DA protests and presents more proof that in truth, you're a mess. And on these attorneys, they fight all night and all day and all night, both trying their best to be heard and be right. And this is why positive thinking isn't always such a good thing. Hopefully we outgrow that kind of thing, because that's just your defense attorney. You're still in the courtroom. You're just on your defense. It's not a lot of fun to defend yourself. I remember when I was I was in my early 20s, I was starting to lead these workshops called musical healing circles, where I would channel songs for people. And I was doing it at somebody's house in Santa Cruz. And somebody came in oh, this is great, because she said, oh, I want a song. It's my birthday today. And so in those days, people would lie down on the floor and everyone would place their hands on the person. And I would channel a song. And instead of the word channel, we could just say, I would offer a song, so I don't sound so special. To just get very simple, and the chorus was How We Love You, to the tune of Pachelbel's Canon. And I had everybody sing that while I started to sing a little louder and improvise lyrics about her specifically. And she was crying. She kept on crying and kept on crying. And I just had this sense that the angels were holding her and singing to her through me, and that it was a precious experience. So I kept on singing. And somebody, I guess, it was the woman who owned the house that this was in. She got up and she started lighting sage and walking around with sage, and she didn't look too happy. And I didn't know what that was about. So when the evening was over, I actually went out to dinner with this lady. It was her birthday, and she had such a precious time. The woman called me the next morning, and she said, I want to talk to you about last night. And I put her on speakerphone because my friend Stephen was in the room. I wanted to hear him. I wanted him to hear this. And she said, you had no right to do that. You just kept on going. You're not a qualified therapist. She was reliving a sexual abuse experience, and you just let it go on and on. You didn't hold the container. You shouldn't be doing this kind of deep healing work. And I started and Stephen started whispering in my ear, Scott, she's just projecting. This has nothing to do with you. Very painful, because I intellectually agreed with my friend Stephen, but her feedback went right into my belief that I shouldn't be doing this deep work without proper training, that there was something wrong with me. It went right into that place where guilt held me as a hostage. And 40 years later, I was speaking at a Unity church in Santa Cruz, and I was telling this story to illustrate how we always have these two voices, and one is love, one is fear, one is guilt, one is innocence. And which one will grow stronger? The one that you feed. It's a Native American tale about the wolf. And so I was telling the story, and I mentioned what happened in Santa Cruz. And this woman stands up and she goes, that was me. 40 years later, or maybe 30 years later. And it was so validating. There was just a part of me that relaxed, because she validated that, yes, indeed, it was a wonderful experience, and it had nothing to do with what this woman was projecting. And I relaxed even more. I had done a lot of work, but there's still a part of me that feels like I need validation from outside of my own source. And that's painful, but I'm working on it. And let's finish the poem. And remember, we're talking about the prosecution and the defense. And when they cross-examine, battle, and spar, they both have no clue of the true you are. Because the you down in Trueville is never on trial. Underneath your adult, there's a divine child whose report card in truth has no guilt to report. Your case has been settled and laughed out of court. There's no judge or jury, and it's starting to dawn. Being stuck in your head is not where you belong. So you start tuning out all the static and noise and start tuning into what brings you more joy. You take off your tight, stuffy courtroom attire and slip into whatever your heart might desire. Your heart, not your head, is now leading the way, which leads you back to your church from your childhood days. The priest in the booth says, "My child, where have you been? It's been years and I'm ready to hear some new sins." But nothing prepares him for what he hears next. It's more blasphemous than the scandalous sex. "Father, forgive me, for I've been pretending that something was wrong with me that needed mending. I thought there were hoops that I must jump through first before being happy and knowing my worth. And now I am finding my treasures on earth are here in my body, my temple, my church. Oh, the moments I missed and the joys I denied me to atone for some guilt that I thought had to guide me. But I'm off of the cross now and finally can say, I confess that I'm innocent. Goodbye and good day." And the priest, he's astounded, he's shocked and tongue-tied as you exit that booth before he can reply. There's a bounce in your step as you let out a wing, because the space in your head is at last lawyer-free. You know you're still human and will make mistakes, but oh, what a joy to be off of your case. And simply because you are taking up space, you know that you're worthy of love and of grace. Simply because I am taking up space. I know that I'm worthy. Say it with me. I know that I'm worthy of love and of grace. Simply because I am taking up space, I know that I'm worthy of love and of grace. I know that I am worthy of love and of grace. So get off your own case already. I'm willing to open my eyes to see my innocence, to see the child I am, a holy child of God. I'm willing to open my eyes. I'm willing to open my eyes to see my innocence, to see my innocence, to see the child I am, to see the child I am, a holy child of God. I'm willing to open my eyes to see my innocence, to see the child I am, a holy child of God. Now see if you could find somebody, turn around to somebody next to you, and we're going to sing this to them. If you're on Zoom, think of somebody in your life that you would like to feel more innocent about, and we're going to sing, I'm willing to open my eyes to to see your innocence. Here we go. I'm willing to open my eyes to see your innocence, to see the child you are, a holy child of God. One more time. I'm willing to open my eyes to see your innocence, to see the child you are, a mirror of, oh, whatever. All right, now let's do it one more time for yourself, for the divine child in your heart. Putting your hand on your heart. I'm willing to open my holy child of God. You take a beautiful deep breath and just know that you'll remember this feeling, not just all through the day, but for the rest of your life. This is the truth about you. There is no courtroom. There's just a playground. So let's go out there and have some fun. Yeah. James, are you still there? Would you like to close us off?
I am. Yes. Stay right there, Scott. Don't you go anywhere. I'm going to turn to Vicky first. And Vicky, as a representative of our worldwide Namaste Village, everyone in the Zoom room, maybe you could just share a few words of gratitude for the life and the light that we call Scott Grace.
Thank you, Brother James. Thank you, Scott. Welcome to everyone to Heaven's Playground. It's time we learn to celebrate all our mistakes, to let that case of self-doubt just fall away. And it will fall away if we don't go to court with it. Drop the case. Just drop the case. Let the light come into where darkness was. There's no cellar to be afraid of anymore. Scott, that whole thing was so uplifting and so joyous and such an example of what we really are, that we can celebrate everything. Thank you. I celebrate along with everyone here, your presence, your holy grace, your joy, that we live in a playground. And when we forget, we can go sit a moment and let the light shine away the darkness. That's the best solution, no matter the illusion, right? And oh, I loved your line, dazzled by grace. It's hard to be dazzled by grace in a dark, damp cellar, but it's easy to recognize it when we step outside and see one another in everyone. Thanks for your example. And I thank God for your presence at this time, Scott. I truly thank God and I bless you in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit, that there's no confession needed, that all our sins were nothing. They were mistakes. They were hallucinations. And today we celebrate. Thank you for your example, your presence as freedom to be exactly as you are, freedom to sing, freedom to give, freedom to not try to judge one thing. Let all things be exactly as they are. Thank you, Scott, and bless you, dear brother. Bless you. Thank you for joining in this communion of a gathering. This is our yoga, our gathering, to raise our awareness to that holy innocence that you sang about, sing about, talk about, and demonstrate. Bless you, brother. Bless you, everyone, our beautiful family. I love you all. Bless you, Brother James. Thanks for leading the parade here. Thank you all. Love you.
Thank you, Vicky.
Thank you.
Scott, if you do actually need a priest to play this role, to release the whole thing in whatever form of confession whether it be confessing our innocence or our guilt, I will play that role with
Thank you, Father, for I have grinned.
And I was thinking, maybe this is the call for all of us to be like Baby Yoda and to recognize that the force is strong. The force is strong within each and every single one of us. So happy birthday to you, brother. We all share the joy of your incarnation.
Oh, I love you, James. Thank you.
Yes, you're so welcome. So now, as we close our wonderful session here today, thank you so much, Scott. We're going to go ahead and we're going to share a final prayer, which we have called the Great Declaration. So let's declare to the universe who we are. Join me in saying, I choose to know that I am infinite spiritual consciousness, embodying all goodness, all grace, and the eternal glory of God. This is the song I will sing, the sermon I will preach, the lesson I will teach, and until full realization. This is my theme, my motif. It is the silver cord of truth running through every message I deliver.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. Punto. So it is. Thank you, everyone. I'm on my way back to Namaste Village today, so I'll see you guys there, and I'll see the rest of you tomorrow morning on our next session. We love you. Mwah. Happy birthday.
Love you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Scott. Happy birthday to all us March birthdays. And
Mhm.
joy,
Birthday,
peace,
Scott.
love.